Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day. And I hope everyone's having a great beginning to their weekend out there so far. We do have a lot to discuss in this morning's video as we're going to have a powerful storm system for late next week into early next weekend. With this system, you're going to have a blizzard side most likely, and then you're going to have a severe weather side. Now, we don't know all the details of both of these sides of this system. But I think confidence is pretty high that we're going to get both out of this. But we just got to figure out the details. So we're going to speak on what we know, compare model guidance. The thing is that model guidance is locked in on the scenario of a stronger storm system, a strong storm system moving across the middle of the country for next week. So that's the thing that we're the most confident in, that we can say, hey, we are going to have a powerful storm system most likely for next week. So we'll speak on that. Now, as this trough that sort of kickstarts this storm system, as it kind of pivots or tilts across the middle to eastern portion of the country, we're going to have multiple areas of energy that probably follows, and this could go over some of the same areas and bring a flooding risk to certain areas of the eastern U.S., and we need to speak on that too. So we'll talk on everything we know. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. So I want to start this off by just showing you this, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but this is a graphic that the National Weather Service issued yesterday. Well, updated yesterday. It says active weather pattern expected late next week into next weekend. So, I mean, they're already honking the horn at something happening about a week out. So that tells you that confidence is pretty high that something's on the way. So, you know, if you want to pause the screen, read this. But the thing that stands out to me is a moderate risk of heavy snow in this pink, and I know it's kind of small. And then it has an outlined area, a pretty large area, moderate risk of high winds March the 15th. The risk of snow is for March the 15th. And then a pretty large area has a moderate risk of heavy precipitation. And then it has a high risk across areas of the southern Appalachian Mountains and really points west into the mid-south and deep south, a high risk of heavy precipitation. So, I mean, they are already saying, hey, a lot of moisture is on the way. The pattern supports this kind of flow of moisture over the same areas. And, you know, like I said, not going to read this whole graphic, but one thing that sticks out to me on this graphic is it says heavy precipitation may create impacts, including flooding in areas still recovering from Hurricane Helene. So they are mentioning Hurricane Helene. So they are already worried about this from a flooding standpoint. So just want to show you that. Pause it if you need to. Now let's talk about it kind of Euro compared to the GFS. So I'm going to start this off next Friday morning. So March the 14th. I'm going to continue to do a better job at mentioning time frames, timestamps, and stuff like that. So as we're starting to move deeper into the day, Friday, what's going to happen here is a low pressure will sort of become dominant here. I know you see multiple L's here, but a 985 low is cutting across Nebraska into Iowa. There is the blizzard side of this system that could develop, but still don't have all the details of this. One thing to note here is if you compare what I'm showing you right now compared to what I showed you yesterday morning, is it shows the storm system much further east. They had the low pressure like over this area in the Dakotas and some of the Euro model guidance from yesterday. Now it has it further east. So this is next Saturday, about a week from today, March the 15th, 983 low right over like Minneapolis. The snow side of this does not look very widespread, but there will be high winds. So wherever it is snowing could be a blizzard. And then it kind of wraps up, moves into the UP of Michigan, brings mainly rain. This storm itself, like the northern side of the system does not look, it doesn't look very scary, I guess you would say. It doesn't look very worrisome, but this could very well bring a lot more snow. If I remember correctly, when we were breaking down the storm system this past week, it did not show a very, I would say, a very snowy side to this. It showed snow, but it wasn't widespread. Well, it ended up trending to more of a snowier scenario. So just keep that in mind. One thing to note here is as this trough sort of digs down, you see all this rain developing. This could very well be severe weather. So as we're getting into kind of next Saturday evening, You see all this rain down here in the deep south. This could very well be severe weather, but this is a lot of heavy rain. Main low pressure's up here, but we will have other areas of energy that sort of is developing, I would say, right into here. Could have another surface low sort of riding up through here. This will kind of amplify the moisture. And, of course, with global model, guys, it's going to pick up on just random L's here. But there could be a main low pressure developing sort of right into here, bringing a lot of moisture up through here and up through here. And this is next Sunday morning on the Euro. And with such a strong low up here and what could be a negatively tilted trough, a strengthening storm system, this could bring a lot of strong winds across a large portion of the country. And then look at all this rain that kind of moves across the eastern U.S. I mean, next weekend. We don't know what it's going to be day by day. But the worrisome part of this is that we could have multiple areas of energy that kind of slowly moves over this entire area. So this is like next Saturday and a Sunday, shows a big area of rain. This could very well be severe weather too. And then you look at the GFS, same thing. Much stronger storm system, 980 low. It's gaining latitude faster just because it is a stronger storm system. And then you see the snow and the winter weather side of this pivoting through areas of the Dakotas. This would be a more high impact winter storm, I think. And then it kind of sweeps through Minnesota. Minneapolis is not a state. It does technically on this run go right over Minneapolis. But and then it looks like it weakens somewhat. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get a powerful storm system over Minnesota and Wisconsin. This particular run kind of weakens it. But then you see all this huge surge of moisture through this area. This could very well be severe weather. This is for next Saturday. Just could have multiple areas of energy kind of moving over this area. And let's switch it to the eastern U.S. And this is for next Saturday afternoon. And you just see a blob of green here. But like I said, I'm going to mention this a lot. This could very well be severe weather. In this case, you know, it's just showing up in green. Could be severe weather. Could be just heavy rain. But this continues. And we get into next Sunday morning. Heavy rain is moving across areas of the eastern U.S. and then moves across the East Coast. Now, I know you look at this and you're probably thinking, man, that doesn't look like anything worrisome or anything like that. But the real, I would say, the details of all this will emerge closer. We'll be able to really fine-tune some things. Will there be a secondary sort of dominant? Doesn't make sense. This is the main dominant low, it looks like up here, powerful storm system. But will there be another low that kind of develops down here as the trough sort of, and I'm going to draw on this side too, as the trough sort of sweeps down right in here? Will there be sort of another low that develops, or multiple low pressures that sort of develop right in here and sweep across areas of the eastern U.S. It sort of revamps the moisture across the southern Appalachian Mountains, which is really what, to me, this graphic is screaming for right here. And I will mention, this is valid through March 15th through the 21st. So they're saying, hey, the pattern supports more moisture go over this area after this, even though on this particular run, the GFS, it doesn't really show it. So what I'll show you here is this, because I know there isn't a whole lot to grab from that. But, you know, you just see a lot of green and a lot of blue on your screen. The signal for a powerful storm system is there. Like, this is next Friday night and a Saturday morning. This is the Euro Ensemble, which blends like 51 members together and blends, say, maybe all 51 members develop a main low pressure right here across the country. Well, it blends all those millibar numbers together, creates a central mean, if you will, or average. And for, say, next Saturday morning, the average low pressure that forms out of all of those 51 members is a 982 low, which is a pretty strong low pressure, land low pressure, and it's going right over areas of the Midwest, upper Midwest. So the signal is pretty strong, pretty high for a strong low pressure right into here. You can see it here, I mean, clear as day. Now, I want you to notice, you see kind of this low right here developing too, main low right here, kind of another low. See how it's kind of starting to pivot this way? That's what I'm saying, is you know, a trough is going to dig down. And let's just get this in motion, continue here. Okay, see how it kind of popped up that L right here? Secondary low pressure showing up. Secondary, I would say, lower pressure. And it makes sense, because if you look at the 500 millibar pattern here, and we switch it to this, and then we look at that. It makes sense, right? So this is pivoting through main low pressure. This is a big trough dropping down, and as this pivots through, main surface lows kind of ejecting up this way. We're going to have other multiple areas of energy kind of pivoting through here or through here, as this big blue blob is a dip in the jet. So flow is going just like this around this lower pressure. So if any other areas of energy forms, this will kind of revamp the moisture return and bring an opportunity for more heavier precipitation and maybe even an opportunity for flooding and severe weather. Now, speaking on the severe weather side of this, what we can look at this range, because we're still kind of far out, is the wind flow, the wind energy, and this is at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet up. So we know with this trough that digs down into the western U.S. and then ejects and gets a little tilt to it, we're going to have a lot of wind energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Now, there's no point looking at the lower levels, like the 850 millibar jet and low-level jet, things like that, because we don't know where the surface low is going to develop. But what we do know is, this is getting into next Friday. This is the 14th. This is a lot of wind energy right in here. So we call that kinematics in the weather world. So you got a lot of wind energy for severe weather, but that don't mean severe weather is going to happen. So a lot of flow coming out the southwest and the upper levels of the atmosphere. And this continues to progress eastward into our Saturday. Okay. But what will this be overlapping as far as moist air? So it's a lot of wind energy sweeping across the eastern U.S. This will work to the surface in the form of strong winds where we stand at the surface. And this will continue to sweep across the eastern U.S. So wind energy is there. Okay, what about surface moisture? No real point in getting into Cape levels and stuff like that. I really think what the Storm Prediction Center really hones in on is there a storm system, a dip in the jet, wind energy associated with it, and is there a solid moist return? And moist return being dew points, which is what we're looking at here. Sorry, I got the hiccups a little bit. Oh, there they are. All right, we're good. So we start to get into next Friday, and this is the Euro Ensemble blend. We do have a bit of moisture return. Dew points getting in the 60s, which certainly supports severe weather, but only in the 50s, and this isn't a forecast once you get up the mid to upper Mississippi Valley. So dew points in the 50s, probably is not going to get you a severe weather outbreak or anything like that, which is good. But the 60s can get the job done, especially for the deep south. So we got this slither of moisture. We call it a moist sector. And then as we're getting into next Saturday, we get dew points, kind of a moist sector riding across the deep south, across southern Alabama, Mississippi, and then eventually getting into Georgia as we're getting into next Saturday evening. And then as we're getting into next Sunday, we get a spike in moisture, dew points in the 60s, all the way into the eastern Carolinas and southeast VA. So where's your best overlapping of moisture and wind energy going to be? Well, we don't know. If you kind of back it up here and you look at, say, this is next Friday evening, I believe. Yeah, next Friday evening. And then this is next Friday evening too. So if you look at the wind flow right in here, you got some 50 to 60 knot upper level flow. And this is riding a little bit displaced from the moisture, but we'll figure out all of those details as we get closer. Now, it does discuss, it discusses what's going on here. It says low predictability due to large spread continues in medium range guidance. But, it does mention the disagreement between the GFS and the Euro. GFS is depicting a negative tilted trough, which obviously would probably bring a more aggressive severe weather setup. Euro is more, I would say, of a weaker scenario, doesn't get it negatively tilted. So the GFS is more of a scenario where you'll certainly get more severe weather. If you get kind of the combining of both, we are definitely going to get some form of severe weather. And severe weather, it says severe probabilities may be needed at some point across the region, day 5, which is next Wednesday. But uncertainty is still too high to issue a 15% severe weather opportunity. And this is just from the first system, and this isn't really from the main system. This is really discussing right here what happens after, like next Friday and a Saturday. This is when it starts to talk about the main system. So apologies. This is actually from a system beforehand, which we definitely need to watch. This is from the main system we just discussed. But, one thing that we can look at here is we can say predictability too low. When it says potential too low, that means the chances are pretty low for severe weather. When it says predictability too low, you certainly, they're watching this time frame, which this is for next Wednesday. It says predictability too low for Thursday, for Friday, and Saturday. So they're watching this time frame. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 15% risk area issued in the coming days. But as far as the blizzard side of this, if you look at the Euro Ensemble, it certainly, let me see what time we got. It certainly doesn't look like a higher end snow risk as far as accumulating snow, but I'm telling you, this could change. This is just in 48-hour period, so this starts kind of next Friday evenings, getting into Saturday, getting into Sunday morning. There is a corridor of accumulating snow up here in areas of the Dakotas and Minnesota. But, an inch, 2.5 inch, maybe as much as a 3-inch snowfall mean. Not a solid, look there as far as heavy snowfall. Now, there is a signal behind it for another storm system, but we're really focusing in on this first storm system. Now, if you look at the GFS Ensemble, and let's look at 4-day periods here. It picks up on it, and it's a much more of a stronger snow signal. The footprint of snow is more significant, shows higher snow totals, and it's just more widespread, and stretches from pretty much all of the northern plains through across, even areas of the upper Midwest, Dakotas, Nebraska, shows a several inch snowfall average right up here. So someone's probably going to get a blizzard up here. It's just trying to figure out where. Now, winds, this is between now and, Wednesday morning. System prior to this time frame is most likely going to bring some strong winds. But watch as we get into Thursday and then Friday into Saturday, which is our time frame of interest for this powerful storm system. This is just a blend of all models. It shows strong winds, 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts across a pretty large area of the middle of the country, especially the southwest and the southern high plains, where these low pressures kind of develop off the Rockies and then eject across the plains. This typically brings some strong winds and associated with and injecting low pressure across the middle of the country. So 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts. And we're probably going to have some drought conditions that really begin to set in this area because you're not getting a whole lot of moisture. We're getting some moisture right now in the form of some rain and snow, but just ain't enough to really put much of a dent in some of this drought conditions. And not everybody's experiencing it right now either over the weekend. But there is a pretty strong signal for high winds across this area. Just got to figure out the details. And then the rainfall, I think we're going to have a pretty strong low pressure that kind of pivots across the deep south into the southeast over the next few days. So that's what this is, right? But watch as we start to move into Thursday of next week, Friday, and then Saturday and then Sunday. It's a lot of rain. So this is just a blend of all model guides too. So this is typically more conservative, but it wants to drop a few inches of rain. And this is just precipitation, but this will most likely be rain. Across North Georgia, Alabama, several inches of rain, and across the southern Alps. And these are areas that just do not need a lot of rain at one time. They can handle probably, a lot of rain over, I would say, a very long period of time. But, over like a 2-day, 48-hour span, this has the potential to happen like that. We don't need that much rain that fast. So big opportunity for a lot of rain in this area. And we don't need rain for some of these areas, especially up here in Kentucky, the southern Appalachian Mountains, the areas that were highly impacted by Hurricane Helene, but the opportunity is there for certainly a lot of rain. So we'll continue to watch this. But as far as what's happening right now, we do have some snow breaking out across the southern high plains. We even have some severe thunderstorms kind of, I would say, around and just south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area as a low pressure is developing that's really low in latitudes. It's not going to get very far north, but we do have some snow squalls and snow showers bursts of heavy snow across the Northeast and New England. And then we have a clipper that's going to ride down into the UP of Michigan over the next 24 hours. But we're going to talk about all these little features here. So this is what's going on right now. Now, watches, warnings, and advisories. Winter weather advisories are in the purple. Winter storm warnings are in the pink. And we do have an ongoing winter storm that's really developing right now. It's going to grow in intensity across these areas. But, Amarillo is going to get accumulating snow. Guyman's probably going to get a little bit in the way of some accumulating snow. I mean, these winter weather advisories even spread into western Oklahoma, which I kind of thought they would. So we'll talk about that. The risk of severe weather, I want to watch for this to increase. Now, it's a pretty large marginal risk stretching from west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area all the way to Lake City, Florida. I mean, it does get all the way into southwestern Georgia, southern Alabama, the entire southern half of Mississippi, and all of Louisiana, and a very small section of southern Arkansas. I know it's just a level 1 out of 5 risk, marginal risk, but listen, I would be mindful of a tornado risk in this area today. The ingredients are not going to spread very far north, overlap very far north, but where there is the ingredients for some severe weather, I would not rule out a couple tornado warnings over the next 24 hours, even into the overnight hours in this area. So please be mindful of a tornado risk here across all the areas you see. Here's I'll zoom in just a little bit more here across the Gulf coastline, so please be aware. As far as excessive rainfall, I forgot to pull that up. Let's back it up. There is a little bit of a risk for some flooding here in the Panhandle of Florida, but I don't think it's anything to be overly concerned about. The Southeast today, most of the Southeast quiet during the daylight hours. We're going to get some thunderstorms, though, that kind of make it to the coastal areas of Florida, and we'll just get some on and off rain showers across the Gulf coastline. But as we get into this evening, I do think some thunderstorms will start to move into southern Mississippi and southern Alabama, and then the thunderstorms will become much more widespread across the Panhandle of Florida and North Florida. And I think there will be an overnight tornado risk across the Panhandle of Florida and North Florida tonight, even into southern areas of Georgia into the wee hours of the morning. So please be mindful of that. Have some Guyana radio stations certainly have them on and ready. Not saying there's going to be a tornado outbreak in the Panhandle of Florida tonight, but there could be some sneaky tornado warnings in southern Alabama, Panhandle of Florida, even southern Alabama and Georgia. Even getting into as we're waking up tomorrow morning. And just a closer look at this. You see how you get this push of convection into the Panhandle of Florida? I want to watch this. I think that you could have some spin-ups. And guys, this is like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning too. So just be aware of this. Some of these storms could produce a quick spin-up, quick tornado. So if you live anywhere in the Panhandle of Florida, North Florida, be aware of this. I don't think this will be a huge tornado event or anything like that, but it could be a sneaky one, okay? The Northeast, we're dealing with some snow squalls this morning. It'll get quiet this evening, and then some more snow will work its way in overnight across southwest New York, northwest PA. This could deliver a quick dusting of snow. Then we're going to wake up to some snow showers flying around, kind of the same areas that they're flying around this morning. The southern tier of New York, western New York, and then some snow showers can make it all the way tomorrow morning into the southern New England area. But it'll be kind of a blustery, wintry, more so a wintry-like day across the Northeast tomorrow. And then, my alarm is about to go off, so I'm going to turn it off real quick so it doesn't blast the mic. But then we got the southern plains here. We got to watch these thunderstorms that, form in eastern Texas, even southern Arkansas. Please be aware of these storms. I don't think it'll be a big severe weather day, but be aware of them. We're already getting some severe thunderstorm warnings right now, but you see the snow flying around. This is this afternoon, like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, we're getting an all-out snowstorm in the Panhandle of Texas and surrounding states, and could get some rain switching to some heavy wet snow in southwest Oklahoma, right at the tail end of this. Maybe even mixes a little bit in Oklahoma City. But, it's done by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. This is updated snowfall graphics. This was issued like 1:30 this morning Mountain Time. So, some of this has already failed, but this is upgraded stuff for Colorado. This is for New Mexico. This was updated at 3:35 MST time. Yep, this is it. This is that. I'm running out of gas. Sorry, guys. I had to restart. I've had I've struggled this week doing videos big time. I don't know why. Just have had an issue. I think it's just had to do with me being a little bit under the weather, not feeling the best. But it has been a struggle to get the videos going. So, but Amarillo, this is just starting right now. But they're up to going for around 5 inches of snow now. Guyman about 1.5 inches. Boise City 4 to 5 inches of snow. So the Panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma is going to get some accumulating snow. Dodge City area, not much snow there, but maybe in the far southwest counties of Kansas, a little bit of snow. And then maybe even like Elk City could get a little accumulating snow, like in western Oklahoma. Can't rule out a little accumulating snow in Woodard. So be, just aware of that. Don't let it catch you by surprise. And then up here in the north central U.S., kind of a quick hitting little clipper will move through this later this morning into this afternoon across the Panhandle, the UP of Michigan into northern lower Michigan. And then I'll kind of swing in, swing out, maybe deliver a dusting of snow. But outside of that, everybody else is quiet. Western U.S., quiet also. Not a whole lot to speak on. So temperatures. So what we're looking at, southeast will be warm, 70s and 80s. Northeast will be cold. A little bit of a thaw going on in the middle of the country. Not too warm and not too cold. And there will be a pretty gnarly temperature gradient across Texas today. 80s and 90s in the lower portion of the state. Northern portion, 50s, 40s, even heck, just some 30s. So warm for the rest of the western U.S. Guys, that's all I got. I do want to do a quick Bible devotion, and even though I'm running late on time because I have a car appointment this morning, it's my own doing, so I'm not going to leave you guys hanging with a Bible devotion. But I do want to speak on something. So this morning we're in Deuteronomy chapter 31, and I'm at verse, let's see, 8. The Lord is the one who will go before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or abandon you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. So, pretty straightforward stuff right there, right? To me, we're called to not be anxious, not to worry, not to have fear, because He's with us, and He's going to take care of us. And I know I mentioned this a lot, almost in every single one of my devotions, and that is that we got to follow His will for our life. We got to pray for His will in our life, and He's going to lead us if we're following His will, even though it's through a struggle and it's through something that it doesn't feel like you're going to get through. He's going to be with you. He's going to carry you through this. And one thing for me that helps me is I talk to God like in the car a lot on the way to work and the way home. I talk to Him like He's like a friend right beside me, and I really view it that way. And I really feel His presence when I do that. So when you're feeling down, you're feeling out, lean on Him. He's going to help you through it, and be grateful that He's there, and talk to Him like He's just right there, because He is. He's right there beside you. He's going through it just like you are, So that, I'll leave you with that. God is good. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning. Hopefully we can be a little bit more, we can flow a little bit better, because it's been a rough week with this. Hasn't been a bad week for me personally. It's just, it seems like I do better when I don't know, when the weather is a little bit more busy. When I get more like relaxed and just at a relaxed state, it seems like sometimes I don't do as good then, but I do appreciate it. Sometimes I'm just hard on myself, and I am hard on myself, but appreciate y'all continuing to tune in. God bless all y'all, and we'll have another video tomorrow morning.